Alright, hello everyone. We're here with Benjamin Cowenberg, site creator of consciousazine.com. So, we're on the back page again. Soon I'll be finished filling this one up. And it's just in there. And this is the notes page of, or a back page of Your Natural Paradise page in www.consciousazine.com. So it's just the notes page. And there's a button at the bottom of each page that leads to these notes pages. Sorry, it's up here. Yarrow is today's herb. The above ground parts are used to make medicine. Yarrow is used for fever, and there's actually quite a lot out of this article from WebMD. Yarrow is a herb that's above the ground parts that are being used for medicine. It's used for fever, common cold, hay fever, absence of menstruation, dysentery, diarrhea, loss of appetite, gastrointestinal GI tract discomfort, and to induce sweating. Some people chew the fresh leaves to relieve toothache, so it's another toothache plant. There's also spilanthes, and what I've found in Australia is Bandit spilosa, or cobbler's peg or farmer's friend, is also, like spilanthes and yarrow, a toothache plant. That's Bandit spilosa. Yarrow is applied to the skin and I've got videos on that too. Yarrow is applied to the skin to stop bleeding from hemorrhoids, for wounds, and as a zits bath for painful lower pelvic cramp-like conditions in women. In foods, in combination with other herbs, yarrow is used for bloating, intestinal gas or flatulence, mild gastrointestinal GI cramping, and other GI complaints. In foods, the young leaves and flowers of yarrow are used in salads. So the young leaves and flowers of yarrow are used in salads. In manufacturing, yarrow is also used as a cosmetic cleanser and in snuff. Yarrow oil is used in shampoos. How does it work? Yarrow contains many chemicals that might affect blood pressure and possibly have anti-inflammatory effects. And that's from that link. Here's another one. Yarrow has been credited by scientists with at least minor activity on nearly every organ in the body. Early Greeks used the herb to stop hemorrhages. Yarrow was mentioned in Gerard's Herbal in 1597 and many herbals thereafter. Yarrow was commonly used by Native American tribes for bleeding, wounds, and infections. It is used in Ayurvedic traditions, and traditional Chinese medicine credits yarrow with the ability to affect the spleen, liver, kidney, and bladder meridians, or energy channels in the body. That's from How Stuff Works, that link there. The next link, it's giving an ointment, I think it's giving an ointment recipe or something. Highlanders of Scotland of the fresh herb is good for piles. It is also considered good against the scabe in sheep. Now, from Wikipedia here, there's actually a lot on Wikipedia. So it's also scientifically known as Achillea millefolium, is an erect herbaceous perennial plant. That means it grows longer than 2 years, that produces 1 to several stems up to 1 meter in height, and has a spreading rhizomaceous or root growth form. Herbal and traditional uses. The herb is purported to be a diaphoretic, astringent, tonic, stimulant, aromatic. It contains isovaleric acid, salicylic acid, asparagine, sterols, flavonoids, bitters, tannins, and coumarins or coumarins. The plant also has a long history as a powerful healing herb used topically for wounds, cuts and abrasions. The genus name Achillea is derived from the eponym from mythical Greek character Achilles, who reportedly carried it with his army to treat battle wounds. This medicinal action is also reflected in some of the common names mentioned below, such as the staunchweed and soldier's woundwort. Because Neanderthal dental tartar reveals evidence of medicine, so I'll say that again, because Neanderthal, the hominid, or early human, dental tartar reveals evidence of medicine, we know that Neanderthals in Europe already consumed yarrow, a natural astringent, and chamomile, an anti-inflammatory. Interesting. Oops. The stalks are dried and used as a randomizing agent in Qing divination. In the Middle Ages, yarrow was part of a herbal mixture known as gruit, used in the flavouring of beer prior to the use of hops. Citation needed. The flowers and leaves are used in making some liquors and bitters, but that needs a citation. Looks like it's got one. Traditional names for A. millefolium include arrowroot, bad man's plaything, bloodwort, carpenter's weed, deathflower, devil's nettle, eerie, field hops, gurrowee, hundred-leaved grass, knight's milfoil, Crichton, millefolium, milfoil, milefoil, noble yarrow, nosebleed, old man's, I'm going to have a nosebleed in a second, old man's mustard, old man's pepper, sanguinary, 7 years love, snake's grass, soldier, soldier's woundwort, staunchweed, thousand seal, woundwort, yarrow way, Yarrow. The English name yarrow comes from the Saxon Old English word geary. That was one of the names, wasn't it? Geary. Which is related to both the Dutch word gur, I don't know, or gur. Yeah, that would be probably with a silent G, because I've got Dutch heritage. Like my last name should be pronounced Ben Kouwenberg with silent G. So both the Dutch word gur and the Old High German word garara, they have a different G though. Yarrow has also been used as a food and was very popular as a vegetable in the 17th century. The younger leaves are said to be a pleasant leaf vegetable when cooked like spinach or in a soup. Yarrow is sweet with a slight bitter taste. The leaves can also be dried and used as a herb in cooking. A. millefolium has seen historical use as a medicine, often because of its astringent effects. The dark blue essential oil extracted by steam distillation of the flowers is generally used as an anti-inflammatory or in chest rubs for colds and influenza. Yarrow essential oil in a clear glass vial. The leaves, this must be from the photo. The leaves encourage clotting, so it can be used fresh for nosebleeds. The aerial parts of the plant are used for phlegm conditions, as a bitter digestive tonic to encourage bile flow, and as a diuretic. The aerial parts act as a tonic for the blood, stimulate the circulation, and can be used for high blood pressure. It is also useful in menstrual disorders and as an effective sweating remedy to bring down fevers. Yarrow intensifies the medicinal action of other herbs taken with it. There's a citation. It is reported to be associated with the treatment of the following ailments: pain, antiphlogistic, bleeding, gastrointestinal disorders, chlorotic, inflammation, emmenagogue, stomachache. Chinese proverbs claim yarrow brightens the eyes and promotes intelligence. Yarrow and tortoiseshell are considered to be lucky in Chinese tradition. The classical Greece Homer tells of the centaur Chiron who conveyed herbal secrets to his human pupils and taught Achilles the use of yarrow on the battleground of Troy. Native American use as budding yarrow and its North American varieties was used in traditional Native American herbal medicine by tribes across the continent. The Navajo considered it to be a life medicine, chewed it for toothaches, and poured an infusion into ears for earaches. The Miwok in California used the plant as an analgesic and head cold remedy. Several tribes of the Plains Indians used common yarrow. The Pawnee used the stalk for pain relief. The Chippewa used the leaves for headaches by inhaling it in a steam. They also chewed the roots and applied the saliva to their appendages as a stimulant. The Cherokee drank a tea of common yarrow to reduce fever and aid in restful sleep. Among Zuni people use the Occidentalis variety medicinally. The blossoms and root are chewed, and the juice applied before fire walking or fire eating. A poultice of the pulverized plant is mixed with water and applied to burns. There you go, Jade, if you ever do any fire walking, off you go, get yourself some yarrow. So thanks for Jade for donating to today's video, and so that this video was made. In the $30 Bandit Food Plant Teaching Series, which this video is part of. So recently it was reported that treatment with Achillea millefolium may attenuate disease severity, make it better. Inflammatory responses, or attenuate means like decrease the disease severity. Inflammatory responses and demyelinating lesions, demyelinating lesions in a mouse model of multiple sclerosis. So I think that means making them better. I'm not sure what that word means. Dangers: in rare cases, yarrow can cause severe allergic skin rashes. So prolonged use can increase the skin's photosensitivity. This can be triggered initially when wet skin comes into contact with cut grass and yarrow together. In one study, aqueous extracts of yarrow impaired the sperm production of laboratory rats. So, as always, rotate your veggies. Now, there's some links here. Let's go to the WebMD. I already got that from there. Let's see. Dosing. Yeah, dosing depends on age and health, and don't use it if you're pregnant, I think, because it's an emmenagogue. And I read something else on it too. Stomach discomfort, you can use it. Insufficient evidence for fever, common cold, hay fever, diarrhea, stomach discomfort, bloating, gas, toothache, and other conditions. Then there was this one, decongestant, astringent infusion, something, anti-inflammatory, expectorant, promotes digestion. Another link I had there. Greek myth had it that Achilles painted himself with a tincture of yarrow to make himself invulnerable to arrows everywhere on his body except his heel. So Achilles' heel. So I think that had more info. So there's some uses for yarrow. Buckwheat relaxation pillows for helpful restful sleep. In sweet dreams, sleep tincture for times when falling asleep is difficult. In teas with mint and chamomile during illness. As a tea, as a tincture, as a tea, as a tea. So yeah, you can see it's pretty all round and pretty medicinal. And you can have the flowers and the leaves. Yeah, this says notes not for use during pregnancy since it may stimulate the uterus. But I personally use it in my post-labor tincture to help tone uterus, so afterwards. Reduce cramping and avoid hemorrhage. Alright, so you can use it after pregnancy. Okay. Alright, then back here on this herb wisdom one, this different link here. Yarrow is highly known and widely used in herbal medicines and supplied either externally or internally. The entire plant is used, both dried and fresh, and it is best when gathered while in flower. It is recommended to use caution when this herb is used in large or frequent doses, taken for a long period of time. This can possibly be harmful and may cause rashes or make the skin sensitive to sun. That's why I say in a lot of my videos, rotate your greens, and you can keep seeds. You don't have to grow them every year. The leaves of the yarrow can be used cooked or raw. They have a bitter flavour but are good in mixed salads and best used when they are young. The leaves may also be used as a preservative or flavouring for beer. The flowers and leaves can be made into an aromatic tea, and the essential oils found in the flowering heads can be used as flavour for soft drinks. Its basic components are alpha-pinene acetate, borneol, beta-pinene, borneol, cineol, camphene, camphor, gamma-terpene, isoartemisia ketone, camazoline, limonene, sabininene, trisoline. I think that's sabanine. Recommended dosage and administration of yarrow for adults. Yarrow flowers or equal preparations 3 grams in 1 day as tea or infusion. Extract, and then it has a little recipe there. Extract 1:1, 25 ethanol, 1 to 4 ml 3 times in a day. Dried herb, 2 to 4 grams of infusion or capsule 3 times in a day. Tincture 1 to 5, 40 ethanol, 2 to 4, 3 times in a day. Okay, 2 to 4 grams, that probably means again. Anyway, and then I went to the almanac as well to just see the cultivation aspects. So sun exposure, it likes full sun. USDA hardiness zones 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plant type, it's a flower. Angiosperm. Yarrow is a hardy perennial. Their fern-like leaves are often aromatic, so that's good. You need to get it 12 to 15 inches deep. Yep, good idea to say plant in compost. Plant in the spring in well-drained, average to poor soil. Yarrows thrive in hot, dry conditions. They will not tolerate wet soil. If you grow yarrow in rich soil, the plants may require stalking because the rich soil encourages growth. So it can just grow in normal soil. Space the plants 1 to 2 feet apart. Okay. Mulch above the compost, yeah, that's always a good idea, or often. If you receive less than 1 inch of rain a week in the summer, remember to water your plants regularly. Yeah, that's right. A lot of people I've seen growing plants, they don't realise that they will die when they're younger. Especially this. See, you want to grow your whole garden so it sort of grows together, and you might have vines vining on your trees or your little bushes. So they're all sort of clambering over each other, fighting for the canopy. It's always a good idea, and then you get a lot better shade and a lot more microbial growth, a lot of fungus and everything, and then you really start off a mini forest, and that's what we're going for, mini food forests. Because then it's self-perpetuating. You'll find that it will sort of perpetuate its own seed and grow, and they'll mitigate each other, and some of them will be perennials and just growing for 10 years anyway, and have it temporally layered as well. Permaculture. So it says here, divide yarrow plants every 3 to 5 years. Divide them. Lift the clumps of flowers in early spring or fall and remove any dead stems from the center of the clump. You can replant the divisions in well-prepared soil. If you plant yarrows from tip cuttings, plant them in spring or early summer. So you can take cuttings from yarrow. It's got here pests, so it must remove these. Oh no, the pests for the plants for yarrow are aphids, powdery mildew, rust, and stem rot. So well-drained soil they need. Few different types by the look of it. Coronation Gold, or the Fennel, or the Ceres Queen. It attracts butterflies, so that's good, and bees, because it's got flowers. Yarrow is a hardy perennial and it's likely to come back. Alright, so I hope you've learned as much as I have from that. I've learned quite a bit from that. So it looks like quite a all-around medicinal, but it's just one that you want to take a few. This is how I would have it. Besides the many ways that you can have it, I'd have it in the young leaves in my salad, but just a few. You might throw a few fennel in, and then you got some spinach. But usually I'll cook the spinach in omelette with eggs, and because that breaks down the oxalates. And but fresh is always best, and you get the nutrients, and you just chuck it all in a big eclectic salad. That's why you want to go all sorts of things and rotate, and only ever eat an eclectic salad. Don't eat a salad of just yarrow and just lettuce and just this and just that. You always just want to mix it up, and then you're just going to be really highly nutritionalized too. So I'd say, because we don't know, we haven't fully circumnavigated the areas of health, even dense biological health, not to mention psychosomatic effects on health and energy body stuff, especially in the West. And we haven't studied it that well. We don't know all the interactions, but it looks to me like these things are all here, and when we find ones like yarrow here that have just many useful components and can be used in many different varieties of ways and an array of methods, it just shows me that it's all kind of meant to be. And that's why I say to people about the psychedelics, you're very brainwashed. They're not bad as well. We've just got to figure them out. It's just because they've been tabooed and nobody knows how to use them. And people say psychedelics are dangerous. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you burn your witches at the stake at full moon in your society. So that's what happens. Now we can record that into the universe. When you idiotically burn your witches and shamans, in other words, at the stake, you lose, and pagans, and witches are paganistic and often pantheistic too, and in their own ways, but often it falls under pantheism, my witch friends, if you really understand pantheism. And anyway, so yeah, pantheism is that the universe is God, so to speak, or at least the body of the divine intelligence that seems to be present. Because you notice there's an intelligence in nature. Like, this is what I'm talking about. The monkey body, or us right now, the anthropoid, the human, or the hominid, whatever you want to call us, modern human, it's interacting with such things as yarrow and so many other things, and many of the fungi and plant hallucinogens, stimulants, everything, and it's just not all happenstance, it's obviously got reason and meaning. So by just obvious nature, when you look at a human in the environment, we're a concrescence, we understand how the plant grows. Maybe the plant doesn't understand exactly everything about the human, and you know, they definitely feel, so that part of, you know, the equation is in there too. Plants, you know, feel pretty much everything, you know, like so much we already know that they feel and can sing. I say that they sing themselves into existence, and you know, that's got to be understood dimensionally too, in a multi-dimensional nature, not just in physics, for instance. You've just got to understand the higher dimensionalities too, I think, and how things sing themselves into existence. And you know, I think it's just funny how much it matches the human body. Like, for instance, cannabis and the human body's endocannabinoid system. I mean, how synchronized is that? How locked up does it have to be for people to sort of realize that nature's not mute, that it's just this man that's deaf to like everything of it? And as long as you sit there and you calm down for a minute and you take note of things, you can notice all the law, you know, that from people doing this over the process of history has built up heaps. And that's why I say we need more law, because then we know how to really use things properly and fully, and you know, with a comprehensive understanding and so on, and in deep etiological senses and stuff. And I just think it's funny that they're all here and they all match up with the human or the anthropoid body so perfectly, you know, at this time where, for instance, you know, you've got pharmaceuticals messing people up and messing them about because they're just, it's like too raw of one thing, and it's just not balanced enough, you could just generally say, and doesn't treat the cause, it's treating the symptom or the effect. So I believe when we're eating fresh nutrients like all these plants, chucking a bit of yarrow in your salad, and you know, parsley and thyme and basil and all that, you know, that's the common cold cure. You know, that's how you eliminate the cold in the population instead of vaccines, because you just build up all this real immunity, you know, and it's real immunity, and it's symbiotically built up with the environment, which is always stronger than man's attempts. You know, man is still young in the chemistry kitchen, the alchemical pot. So yeah, and you know, that's what happens. You lose a lot of sacred knowledge when you burn your witches at the stake. So that's a no-no for societies everywhere. Don't do that, or you'll just regret it later. And it'll bring more pain to your people, you know. So yeah, thanks Jade for donating, and I'm glad I got to cover this one because I wanted to have a good look into it. And that's why I say, you know, have everything fresh, because you can imagine when you just have all this growing, I haven't yet got to stay at a place long enough, but when you have all this growing together and just having an eclectic salad every day, you can just see how much, like, it's so healthy. You know, it's just really, and it just seems obvious because I just don't think it's happenstance that they're growing at our feet. I think it's like Gaia saying, ahem, ahem, and shoving into you know, literally putting the weed in your face and saying, hello, this is what this one's good for, that's what that's good for, and, you know. And so that's why I say less law, or LAW, and more law, LORE, or build up of a knowledge around a subject, you know, known as law, because that's the way to create a sustainable society, I think. It's funny that, you know, the paganistic sort of aspect needs to be there, and it does need to be there, obviously, especially on Earth and, you know, any planet, because we can terraform any planet and green it. And you can imagine in space, when you don't have much options, you're going to want a very various and circumnavigating sort of garden. And it'll only change who's at the helm, but a society grows great when, you know, old men plant trees whose shade they'll never sit in. So thanks, Jade, and anybody can donate to a video for Yarrow, or sorry, a video for any food plant, usually a perennial I'd like to do, and just contact me through consciousazine.com. or through YouTube. You can message people on YouTube, so Google how to do that, and you can message me straight on YouTube, and talk to me about a video or talk to me about plants as well, because I'm always looking for more knowledge too. So just here on the Wikipedia page for it, there's some flowers to the right, different types. So for companion planting, repelling some insect pests while attracting good predatory ones, it attracts predatory wasps, which drink the nectar and use insect pests as food for their larvae. Similarly, it attracts ladybirds and hoverflies. It is also planted for improving soil quality. Its leaves are thought to be good fertilizer and a beneficial additive for compost. It is also considered directly beneficial to other plants, improving the health of sick plants when grown near them. And there's a dead link there. That doesn't work anymore, but yeah, there you go. It can be planted to combat soil erosion due to the plant's resistance to drought. So there you go.